Okay, and I'll do that. So I'll give you the summary of what he said in the previous para, then we will read it. Okay, so I'm reading out the summary. Okay. The Purusha uses his powers to station himself on any one of the many planes of existence and subjects himself to the laws and limitations of that particular plane. So we have to understand what is Purusha. Purusha is consciousness. Prakriti is power and nature. Okay? So in man, Purusha is the soul and Prakriti is the body mind life. In nature, there is Purusha, which is a consciousness, and nature is Prakriti, the energy aspect. Okay? So Purusha can station himself on any one plane of the 7 planes of consciousness. If he is stationed in matter, he becomes Annamaya Purusha. If he stations himself in the vital, he becomes a Pranamaya Purusha. Similarly, Manomaya Purusha, Vijnanamaya Purusha, Anandamaya Purusha. Okay? So this is the about Purusha. The Purusha is the eternal soul. It is spirit, self-existent, who is always superior to his own manifestation. The manifestation in the physical world, the Purusha is always superior to that. Okay? Purusha is universal soul, which is the aspect of the power of becoming using its own substance. Purusha is the infinite in the finite. This is the cosmic aspect. The transcendent aspect was that the Purusha is the eternal soul. Then the Purusha is also the individual soul. Okay? It is spirit engaged in developing and working out any one of the infinite possibilities that it truly is. Okay? Each man is a possibility unique in the world, and therefore, Purusha in the individual is working out the possibilities through each individual. Okay? Purusha can be all these things at once, simultaneously or separately. Okay? He can be the transcendental, he can be the cosmic, he can also be the individual. On each plane, Purusha can seem to become Prakriti. Okay? To become Prakriti. It identifies itself with Prakriti and loses its own identity. But it can recover its own nature by separating itself from Prakriti. It then becomes a self. This is what he said. If it sounds very complicated, all you have to remember is Purusha is consciousness, and at our level, he is identifying himself with the nature, Prakriti, because we think that we are the body mind life now. So that's what Prakriti does disturb. But Prakriti and Purusha can also identify themselves with each other in the different planes of consciousness also. Remember, in the supermind, Prakriti and Purusha become one. They are identified. Okay? So, if the individual experiences his overmind, the Purusha aspect, then he feels that the world is governed and created by the Ishvara. Okay? He feels there is a Ishvara who has done the creation of the universe with his own power. But if the individual experiences the Divine Mother, okay, then he feels that it is the Divine Mother who is creating the world with the help of Purusha, who is in her own body. So this is what is being said. Finally, Sundar is saying the soul, that is the Purusha, can become what it believes to be. Yo yash shraddha saeva sa. This is from the Gita. Whatever is the faith in you, that you can become. So this is what he said in the previous paragraph. Now we will read the paragraph that we have to read today. Okay? This power of the soul over its nature is of the utmost importance in the yoga of self-perfection. If it did not exist, we could never get by conscious endeavor and aspiration out of the fixed groove of our present imperfect human being. I'll read the whole sentence and then we'll come back phrase by phrase. If any greater perfection were intended, we should have to wait for nature to effect it in our own slow or swift process of evolution. So, what Sindhu is saying that normally the soul is the Purusha and Purusha is normally static. Okay. It is Prakriti which is dynamic. That we have seen very clearly. But there is a power also in the soul. And that power, if it is not there, then we can do nothing. Okay. And what is that power? It's the idea that I can improve myself, that I can make progress. And although at the lower level, this is largely an illusion, yet it is an illusion which is very, very useful for progress. That's what Sindhu is saying. Okay. He's saying, if it did not exist, the faith in oneself, that faith, the power of the soul, if it did not exist, we could never get by conscious endeavor and aspiration out of the fixed groove of our present imperfect human being. Because Purusha is inactive and Prakriti is active, and the two are always at loggerheads with each other at the lower level. Okay? So, and Prakriti is completely controlling the soul in the physical world. But the soul has a choice. If it starts saying, I want to become free, he has the power to do that. Otherwise, yoga would not be possible. That's what Sindhu is saying. Okay? So, the Prakriti would constantly keep the soul prisoner. But it cannot keep the soul prisoner because it has a power. And that power is faith. Okay? Just imagine at the animal level, the power in the soul is not enough. It's only enough in the human being. That is the reason why in the animal, the soul can never liberate itself. It has to evolve and come up to a human level where it can liberate itself. Okay? So that's what Sindhu said. Never get by conscious endeavor and aspiration is yoga. Okay? Out of the fixed groove of our present imperfect human being, the soul is subject to body-mind life. If any greater perfection were intended, we should have to wait for nature to effect it in our own slow and swift process of evolution, just as it is done from matter to life and from life to mind. Nature has done it. Okay? Man has not. Now man can, the soul in man has the power to progress on its own. It doesn't need to depend on nature. Remember, if you want to put it in different words, the evolution from matter to life and from life to mind is mechanical and very slow. But when man comes into the scene, the soul in him has the faith and the power, and it can become a conscious yoga. Yoga is not possible at the animal level, but at human level it is possible. Okay? So that's basically what he said. I read the next sentence. In the lower forms of being, animal, okay, animal and even matter, the soul accepts this complete subjection to nature. But as it rises higher in the scale, it awakes to a sense of something in itself which can command nature. There you are. Very clearly is explained that at the animal level, the soul is aware that there is no power and it subjects itself to Prakriti. Prakriti completely dominates the soul. That is the reason why you will see that all species, okay, they behave in a very fixed manner. Dogs will behave in a fixed manner. Horses will behave in a fixed manner to things. Okay, there are always the laws apply very much because the Prakriti, which is mechanical, is completely controlling the soul. But in the animal, in the human being, it's not like that. The soul has evolved enough to know that it can progress on its own. But as it rises higher in the scale, it awakes to a sense of something in itself which can command nature, not be subject to nature. But it is only when it arrives at self-knowledge that this free will and control becomes a complete reality. So, to be able to understand that you are master, you have to go to the self. If you go to the self with yoga, then you can become master. You have a free will and you can control not only yourself but also your own nature. The change affects itself through process of nature, not therefore by any capricious magic, but by an ordered development and intelligible process. What is this? Ordered development and intelligible process means yoga. Yes? Very clearly. Yoga, as we said again and again, not possible at the animal level, but possible at the human level. Because the soul has awakened sufficiently to know that it can progress on its own, in spite of the domination of Prakriti. When complete mastery is gained, then the process by its self-effective rapidity may seem a miracle to the intelligence, but it still proceeds by the law of the truth of spirit. In other words, what Sadhguru is saying is that when your nature changes, you go to the self, and then you see, my God, what I was and what I have become. It seems to be a miracle. Okay? But it is not a miracle. It is under a law. The laws continue right up to the overmind level. Okay? There are only fixed laws. Nothing happens by miracle. Okay? Even grace sometimes acts by miracle. Seems to act by miracle, but actually it is not miracle. Okay? Then the next sentence. When complete mastery is gained, then the process by its self-effective rapidity, note the word self-effective rapidity, may seem a miracle to the intelligence, but it still proceeds by the law of the truth of spirit. When the divine within us, by close union of our will and being with him, takes up the yoga and acts as the omnipotent master of the nature. Because after that, the divine himself is doing the yoga for you. For the divine is our highest self and the self of all nature, the eternal and universal Purusha. The individual Purusha, when he becomes the eternal and universal Purusha, the divine himself takes up your yoga and does it for you. So, very clearly, Swami is saying that when man comes into the evolution picks up speed. It can be much, much more rapid. So now we can go to the next paragraph. Purusha may establish himself in any plane of being. Sima is not read for many times. If Sima is ready and she has got the text, you can read.
Okay, thank you, Dada.
Okay, go ahead, read. Purusha may establish.
Purusha may establish himself in any plane of being, take any principle of being as the immediate head of his power, and leave in the working of its proper mode of conscious action. The soul may dwell in the principle of infinite unity of self-existence and be aware of all consciousness, energy, delight, knowledge, will, activity as conscious form of this essential truth, Sat or Satya. It may dwell in the principle of infinite conscious energy, tapas, and be aware of it unrolling out of self-existence the works of knowledge, will, and dynamic soul action for the enjoyment of an infinite delight of the being. It may dwell in the principle of infinite self-existent delight and be aware of the divine Ananda, creating out of its self-existence by its energy whatever harmony of being. In these three poises, the consciousness of unity dominates. The soul lives in its awareness of eternity, universality, unity, and whatever diversity there is not separative, but only a multitudinous aspect of oneness. It may dwell too in the principle of supermind, in a luminous self-determining knowledge, will, and action, which develops some coordination of perfect delight of conscious being. In the higher gnosis, unity is the basis, but it takes its joy in diversity. In lower fact of supermind, diversity is the basis, but it refers back always to a conscious unity, and it takes joy in unity. These ranges of consciousness are beyond our present level. They are superconscious to our normal mentality that belongs to a lower hemisphere of being.
Okay, so Surendra is now discussing the higher hemisphere and the lower hemisphere. The lower hemisphere is the body-mind life. Matter in universe, it is matter, the principle of life and the principle of mind. Okay, so Surendra is explaining what the soul can do. Okay, and very, very clear, we'll discuss that in detail. Purusha may establish himself in any plane of being. We'll take this up first. This we have already seen in the earlier paragraph also, that the Purusha is the supreme consciousness which he can place himself. He can place himself in any level he wants. He has the power to do that. But when he places himself in the lower, he submissively, willingly submits himself to the laws and rules of that particular plane. So if he comes back into matter, the law is rigidity and slavery. So very willingly, the soul becomes a slave to nature. If he goes into the life mind, there also slight progress may be there, but the soul is willingly submitting himself to the laws of life, okay, of energy. So that's exactly what he's saying. He can do that by himself. Take any principle of being as the immediate head of his power and live in the working out of his proper mode of conscious action. So, what does he mean by any principle of being? The principle of being is Sat, Chit, Shakti, Ananda. So, the Purusha, the individual Purusha at every level can stress the aspect of Sat or stress the aspect of Chit, stress the aspect of force or stress the aspect of Ananda. Okay? That's what Surendra is saying. Satchidananda is all, but to see them all at one time is possible only at the highest level. In the lower levels, there is usually a dominance. Dominance of only one aspect. It could be Ananda, or it could be consciousness, or it could be sheer substance. Okay? The soul may dwell in the principle of infinite unity of self-existence and be aware of all consciousness, energy, delight, knowledge, will, activity as conscious form of this essential truth, Sat or Satya. It can take any. Now he is giving you separately what it can do. It may dwell in the principle of infinite conscious energy. So it identifies itself with Shakti. Tapas. Tapas is the same thing with the energy. And be aware of it unrolling out of its existence the works of knowledge, will, and dynamic soul action for the enjoyment of an infinite delight of the being. Although it can station itself on any one aspect, Sat, Chit, Shakti or Ananda, still it has the other things also. So when it is in the energy aspect, there can be knowledge also, and there can be will and also a little bit of delight. That's what Surendra is saying. Then first one is dwelling in the conscious energy. Then it has a little bit of knowledge also, and delight also is there. Next, It may dwell in the principle of infinite self-existent delight, Ananda. Okay. The first discussion was in energy or Shakti. Now it is in the Ananda aspect. It may dwell in the principle of infinite self-existent delight and be aware of the divine Ananda, creating out of its self-existence by its energy whatever harmony of being. Okay. So this is the Ananda aspect. Okay. Creating everything. This is normally the principle of Leela. You can see the divine play in action. Then, so consciousness, energy, and Ananda. In these three poises, the consciousness of unity predominates. Okay? Unity is there. Always. The soul lives in its awareness of infinity, universality, unity, and whatever diversity there is not separated, but only a multitudinous aspect of oneness. Now, this is almost contradictory, but you have to understand what is said. Okay? There is not separated, but only a multitudinous aspect of oneness. So, what is this? You see the one, but you also see the different multiplicities. Let me explain to you in this way, then you will understand what is said. At the highest level, there is unity, and let's take the image of a sea. Okay? The sea is absolutely calm, and it is one, no movement. There is no multiplicity there. Okay? You see only unity. There at the highest level, the transcendent. Then at a slightly lower level, the waves start forming. Okay? And when the waves are just beginning to form, they are not yet formed, the waves are not formed, but the swelling is there. You know, when a wave starts coming, there is usually a little bit of a swelling in the water. And that swelling travels, and when it comes near to the shore, it becomes a crest and a clear wave. Okay? So, that second level, the waves are beginning to form. So if an individual experiences that level, he will feel that everything is one, but multiplicity is there waiting to emerge from it. You will see both. Not like the highest one, where you see only unity. Then in the third level, the waves are formed, okay, and the individual soul feels that multiplicity is the real truth, but it sees that all the waves are in the sea. The sea is a very minor aspect, and the multiplicity is the more prominent aspect. So the individual soul which experiences that level sees multiplicity largely, but all linked together by a divine unity. So this was simply said. Okay? So, in these three poises, the consciousness of unity dominates. The soul lives in the awareness of eternity, universality, unity, and whatever diversity, and that we read long ago. Sorry, that we read. So, in the higher, I'm reading the next sentence. In the higher gnosis, okay, he has discussed consciousness, Ananda, and energy. Now he is saying, in the higher gnosis, okay, higher gnosis is supramental. Unity is the basis, but it takes its joy in diversity. In the lower fact of supermind, diversity is the basis, but it refers back always to a conscious unity and takes joy in unity. Depending on which level you are, just now we discussed that. At the highest level, only unity. At the next lower level, unity is dominant, but the multiplicity is just beginning to show itself. In the third level, even one below that, the multiplicity is obvious, but you can see very clearly that all the waves are coming from the sea, which is one. So, this is what happens to the individual soul when it climbs to these different levels. Okay? So, in the lower fact of supermind, diversity is the basis, but it refers back always to a conscious unity and takes joy in unity. These ranges of consciousness are beyond our present level. They are super conscious of our normal mentality. That belongs to a lower hemisphere of being. So what Chandra is describing here is a higher hemisphere of being. This is what. Okay? So, depending at which level you are. This lower being, we have to read the next paragraph. What is the time? 27. So 27 means we have got about 15 minutes. We can read the next one. Who wants to read?
And I think one left, Dada. One line we have left, I think, this line, that it may dwell true in the principle of supermind in a luminous self-determining knowledge, will and action which develops some coordination of perfect delight of conscious being. I think we have left this line.
Yes, you are right. Okay. Yes, you are right. So, in the, I'll add that now, but we know in the gradation. Okay. It may dwell too in the principle of supermind in a luminous self-determining knowledge. So, luminous self-determining knowledge. Knowledge is not being added to you, it reveals itself to you. Will and action, which develops some coordination of perfect delight of conscious being. Okay? That is to say, like Mother said, when she knew and willed at the same time, that the time has come for the supermind to descend to earth. Okay. So, knowledge and will become one. Do they become one at our level? No. Either I have a will, but I have no knowledge. And if I have knowledge, then I may not necessarily have will. But in the supermind, they are absolutely together. They are one. Knowledge and will. That's what he said. Okay? In the other one,
it's real.
huh?
It's the real idea, Dada. The real idea. Is it the real idea?
The real idea refers to each individual thing in the physical world. What he is describing here is the consciousness in the supermind. The real idea is the essential thing of everything in the physical world. Okay? The real idea is the blueprint. Okay? Just as I told you that when an architect wants to build a house, he doesn't start building. He first makes a plan. Okay? That plan is what he will follow when he is building the house. That plan is the real idea. Okay? You can say it's a blueprint. And he follows the blueprint. The reality of everything in the physical world is a blueprint in the supermind. That's the way to put it that way. That's the real idea. He's not discussing the real idea here. He's discussing the combination of Purusha and Prakriti in the different levels. Okay? Now, this lower being begins where a veil falls. So, one of you has to read. You can read. Shilpa can read if she has the text. Today we are going to the.
Yes, I am reading.
Okay, go ahead. This lower being.
Yes. These lower beings, where a veil falls between soul and nature, between spirit and supermind, and spirit and mind, life and body, where this veil has not fallen, these instrumental powers are not what they are in us, but an enlightened part of the unfeed, unified action of supermind and spirit. Mind gets to an independent idea of its own action when it forgets to refer back to the light from which it derives and becomes absorbed in the possibilities of its own separative process and enjoyment. The soul, when it is dwells in the principle of mind, not its subject to but user of life and body, knows itself as a mental being, working out its mental life and forces and images, bodies of the subtle mental substance, according to its individual knowledge, will, and dynamism, modified by its relation to other similar beings and powers in the universal mind. When it dwells in the principle of life, it knows itself as a being of the universal life, working out action and consciousness by its desires and under similar modifying conditions proper to a universal life soul whose action is through many individual life beings. When it dwells in the principle of matter, it knows itself as a consciousness of matter acting under a similar law of the energy of real being. In proportion as it leans towards the side of knowledge, it is aware of itself more or less clearly as a soul of mind, a soul of life, a soul of body, viewing and acting in or acted upon by its nature. But where it leans toward the side of ignorance, it knows itself as an ego identified with nature of mind, of life, or of body, a creation of nature, but the native tendency of material being leads towards an absorption of the soul's energy in the act of formation and material movement and a consequent self-oblivion of the consciousness being. The material universe being begins from an apparent inconscience.
Okay, so we will read the summary first and then we'll come back to what he's saying in detail. Here he is saying, he is discussing the lower hemisphere. Okay, the lower hemisphere is a normal condition of man as we are all. Okay. The lower hemisphere begins with the overmind, he is saying, in its descending movement. Okay. That is the lower hemisphere. They give a slightly different interpretation. There is a veil, a golden lead, which separates the supermind from the overmind. This golden lead separates the unity of the supermind from the multiplicity of the overmind. The overmind, we know all the gods live there, and they are representative of all the forces in the physical world. Each force is represented by God. So, this golden lead is between the overmind and the supermind. It is here that ignorance originates. It is the first descent. The overmind consciousness is the limit, the highest plane of ignorance. From there, because multiplicity is still possible. So remember, all the infinite gods live at the overmind level. And if the infinite gods are there, then that is the multiplicity beginning there at that level. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. In the lower hemisphere, our parts of being, body, life, and mind, become in the higher hemisphere their divine counterparts. Okay? So what is the divine counterpart? The body is gross substance, but it becomes very subtle substance. It becomes soft at the highest level. Life also is actually in the supermind, it is the chit shakti. And the mind is the supermind in the upper hemisphere. They become in the higher hemisphere the divine counterparts. They are enlightened parts of the supermind. Now, at the level of the overmind, the mind starts to act as if it were independent of its parent origin. Okay? It begins to act as though it is independent of the parent origin. Because if it was not independent, it would know that the unity is there. Overmind is the beginning of the multiplicity. Okay? Remember that. Our parts of being, body, life, and mind, become in the higher hemisphere. They are divine counterparts. They are enlightened parts of the supermind. At the level of the overmind, mind starts to act as if it were independent of its parent origin. And which is the parent origin? The supermind. It considers itself self-sufficient and independent. It enters into all the possibilities of the infinite multiplicity, forgetting its origin of complete oneness. Now, the soul takes its poise in the three elements of the lower ignorance. Mind, life, and matter. The soul, when it takes its stand in mind, not subject to the lower elements, vital and body, but is rather their power, uses itself as mental purusha, working with its mental substance according to the individual nature and capacity, using creative forms of knowledge, will, and action, but subject to the universal mind. It's a universal nature that actually does all the works. Soul, when it stands in the life principle, it sees itself as a being, creature of universal life, vital purusha, working out action, body, and consciousness, mind, without desire, but subject once again in the mind to the universal prana. This universal prana is working through all individuals. Therefore, the individual's desires, being subject to universal prana, may or may not bear fruit. The last sentence of this, no, not last sentence, not more. When the soul stations itself on the principle of matter, it sees itself as a consciousness of matter, but again, subject to the laws and action of the material universe. Now, the soul can lean towards knowledge or towards ignorance. When it tends towards knowledge, it sees itself as a soul of mind, a soul of life, a soul of body. Okay? Now it can act on its own nature. Now it can act on its nature, or the nature can act it. Okay? Nature can make it act. Prakriti dominates Purusha. This depends on the amount of mastery the soul has got on its journey. So that's what it's saying. When the soul tends towards ignorance, it becomes the ego and identifies itself with body, life, mind. It becomes a slave to Prakriti. Since the material universe starts from the inconscience, the soul of matter plunges itself into the action, energy, movements of body, life, and mind, and forgets itself fully. This is ignorance. So, ignorance is not the opposite of knowledge, but it is a willingly submissive condition of life. So, when it comes down, it is always conscious of what it is, and I'm reading that last sentence again, okay? The summary. Since the material universe starts from the inconscious, the soul of matter plunges itself into the action, energy, and the movements of body, life, mind, and forgets itself fully. This is ignorance. We are simply describing how it can station itself at any level. That's all what it is. Okay? So it is 8:40. We have to stop here today. If you want, next time we can redo this para. Okay? And the para is beginning with this lower B. And the page is 629. Normally I forgot, last time I forgot, but this time I am marking. 629. This lower B. Okay? It's 8 o'clock, so we can stop here today. 8:40. Okay.
Thank you, Rangata.
Thank you, Rangata.
Thank you, Rangada.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.